week 37 Bricklink Store report. A big week, 710 sales across the 26 tracked stores, giving us an average of 24. That is, of course, excluding Bricks Warehouse, because they kind of freak the numbers by 2 or 3 most weeks. So anyone above 24, which is all of the top 10 as we look at it, have all performed above average across the 26 stores. So it gives you an indication that it was a good week, which is interesting because it wasn't for some on the usual kind of players. But anyway, those of you that are new to the store report, this data is kind of a mixture of things tracked by myself and from blmetrics.com, giving me kind of breakdown on inventory and lots and things like that, doing the hard work for me. And if you want to check out BL Metrics as a tool, there is a 2-week free trial at the moment, so you can jump on that. And I also have a discount code for 50% off your first month, and that is on screen now. Head over to blmetrics.com and check it out for yourself if you want to. Anyway, so number 1, Bricks Warehouse, as per usual, slight drop of 1 order this week. They are operating at 100% new, given that it was 101%, that can't be right. Anyway, 100% new. And again, this is a strange thing because not that long ago it was talking about being a 100% used store. But anyway, in terms of unique lots, we looked at total lots last week, but Noah wanted me to do it this way around because it makes him look better, I think, sitting there at the top of the shop. 24,165. We can have a look at this in BL Metrics in a minute, but as you can see, kind of 2+ million parts, 24,165 lots, speaks for itself. Back in the top 10 and straight up to number 2, Fantechnic. Good to see them return after their week-long or thereabouts suspension. 65 orders this week, which is much more their usual kind of thing. 41 last week, which wasn't a full week, but there you go. And that is incorrect. I'm not banned from them. I'm banned from this one here. So I need to correct that. But anyway, I'm not banned from Fantechnic. I am from Ashburton, Goldie Bricks and Bricks Warehouse. So Fantechnic operating at 99.9% used. They are -7% on the 6 months average, and there was a question in the week whether or not that average price difference was rated against Australian data or global data. I have confirmed with Julian at BL Metrics that that is pulling data from the global average. So Fantechnic is 7% cheaper than the global average, operating at 12,141 lots. Pretty Bricks over in Tasmania, 64 this week, a bit of a jump on last week. They are 75.2% new. That is a increase, I think. There's a few stores that have shifted around this week by quite a margin, but 75% new. Their average price difference is plus 37% on the global 6 months average. That's down slightly from 41% last time, and they have 24,261 unique lots, putting them ahead of Bricks Warehouse and behind where are we? Behind Noah and Tanya and Brick Womble, who I can't remember his name. Anyway, there we go. There, the Brick Shed have climbed 2 places, 62 orders this week. Good bounce back from 38 the week prior. Their used has decreased significantly this week, as has Sydney Brick Emporium, down to 81.7% used. So obviously a lot of new parts have gone into the store, but their average price difference has jumped remarkably, down from 62% above the 6 month average to just 32% above the 6 month average. And on that basis, I imagine next week we'll see a significant number of orders as well. They are top of the shop in unique lots at 27,205. At one point that was up to 30,000, I believe, so that has taken an absolute kicking. Ashburton down again this week to 62 after 68 last week. Their price has dropped a little bit as well. They are now minus 11% below and operating at 12,297, and that should be yellow at the end of that. Bricktastics, and another one that's fallen 3 places this week. This whole swathe has all dropped slightly. 52 orders this week after 60 last week. Their average price difference has increased by 2% to 21% over the 6 months average, and their lot count is the smallest out of the entire top 10 at just 10,037 unique lots. Another store that we don't really talk about an awful lot, their pricing has gone up. Their lots are 14,077. For that kind of mid-range store size, that is kind of 12 to 13 is pretty much the average, but 1477 for them. Tanya dropping 1 place. Good week though, just a better week elsewhere. 42 orders this week after 30 last week. Their used count percentage has decreased by, I think it was like 11%, and I know I haven't done it every week, so maybe that's been happening over the duration, but 77.5% used currently and 65% over the 6 month global average. That's up from 63. Tanya and Noah were the second and third highest over the 6 months average, below the very dominant Bricks Warehouse, but a slight increase there, whilst Noah has had a significant decrease. May have an impact on sales in the week coming. 24,985 unique lots. A non-mover is Brickwomble, 33 this week. Again, a significant improvement on last week. That's an improvement of 8, which in my kind of tracking suggests that's outside of kind of what is expectable in terms of a variation week on week. They are 79.7% used. That may have changed as well from memory. 19% over the 6 months average, up 3% on the previous appearance, and sitting at 26,244 lots. Kind of Brickwomble, Brickshed, and Pretty Bricks. Got to have bricks in your name, haven't you? Are the top 3 on unique lots. And back in the chart, Papa Bricks, 27 this week. He had a much better week last week, but everyone had a much better week last week. That was the thing, which pushed him out of the top 10 for some reason. Can't remember why. Anyway, 27 this week, which is a 10 drop, 99.5% used, and pricing has increased plus 30 to plus 27, and they are working at 11,918 unique lots. So if we just take a look at that in terms of unique lots as a top 10, if you like, we've got Noah at the top, Brickwomble, Sydney Brick Emporium, Bricks Warehouse, Pretty Bricks, all featuring in the top 10 of daily orders or weekly orders as it is. Then Brick for Me, who do a lot of lots, but their order count is not great. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Craig's iBricks, an awful lot of lots. Both of these fairly expensive stores, as you can see, 132% over the 6 months average, 84% over the 6 month average, and Southeast Brickman with 18,000 at number 8 as 127% over the 6 month average. Schmick Bricks and Queensland Bricks all making up the top 10. Jace Bricks just 3% over with 17,000. You can see there's an awful lot of stores doing better than me in terms of lot count, that's for sure. Where am I? All the way down here in 38th place. Need to work on that. In terms of price difference stacking up, let's have a little look at that. Hard to get bricks, clearly don't want to make any sales. Let's drive into that for a minute. Overrun Garage, that's too perfect to be real, isn't it? Amazing Brick Bazaar, 1,068,947, 292% over the 6 months average. If you want dots, this is the place to go. And then there's an awful lot of stores here, isn't there, that don't have a logo. Anyway, interesting. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the kind of the stack up of who's who. Bricks Warehouse sitting at 24 on that list. Let's have a look at this. This data is not the freshest, but daily orders none. How many is that? Daily orders 2. Sunday they had an order. Tuesday they had 2. Friday they had 1. So as you can see, that price difference is having a real impact, but they're still making sales. Incredible. 90.6% used as well, so I'm going to assume it's fairly rare and hard to find parts. I was talking about Brick for Me, 14 this week, 22, 29. Sometimes that will get them in. Like, you really need to be touching on the 30s or the high 20s to get into the top 10 week on week. Myself, where am I? 27, which is bobbing along at a bit of an average, isn't it? I mean, over the last 5 weeks, my average has been 28, which ain't too bad. And over here, you can see the total sales kind of trending from week 21 onwards. 37 was a good week. That's 3 weeks of increases, which is good to see. Whereas the weekly average spiked up after 3 weeks of declining. And then this is just a little chart that I'd added in to track my own store against the weekly average. As you can see, kind of just dipping below it this week and over it that week, but not enough to get into the top 10. And that is it. Week 37 done and dusted. Week 38 just on the horizon. I'll make sure I get these labels right. And we will see you next time. Don't forget to like and comment on the store report if you want it to continue. Otherwise, I'm going to fold it back into the weekly vlogs in a more kind of broken down process. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.